This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, g'day, folks. Welcome back to another show. And thank you to everybody in Bundaberg who showed such a great time up there on Tuesday night. And, the travel home, great travel home. Great to see so many signs on the side of the road about the pandemic and the jibby jab shot. Great to see so much support from the people up there in Bundaberg too. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a couple of days. We've had Patriot 101 lined up and then fallen over. He's been called off to an emergency job out of state, so he's been carted off for that. Nothing deep and sensitive about that at all. The man drives an excavator, so he's out to dig a big hole somewhere for somebody who's in desperate need. He will be back next Wednesday night. We had lined up something else for last night, which unfortunately fell through. It was going to be then tonight, and that fell through as well. And in the whole thing, we've had Telstra fall over again as well, which has just been a stunning last couple of 24 hours, 40, 36 hours or more. Anyway, we seem to be back up and rolling, and I've been trying to get a hold of one gentleman in particular. I've been trying to get him on for a week or so now, and I've messed him around. So now we are finally going to make it. He has a website. I'd love you to go and check it out. This is it. It's Aussie Survival Instructors. Now, if you ever wondered about bushcraft and what you would do in a survival sense, whether it be out in the bush or when the earth goes in a strange motion in the near future, how you can use primitive technology, if you like, to make your life a little bit easier, there is one man we need to talk to, and his name is Kevin Newton from Australian Survival Instructors. Kevin, how are you, mate? Thank you for joining us here on the Voice of Freedom.
You're very welcome, Carl. It's a pleasure to be here. I do watch your channel, as you know. So I have been keeping up with your discussions with people such as Aussie Cossack and Ricardo. So that's really good to be here, mate.
Tremendous, mate. Thank you very much for your support. We really do appreciate it. I can give you a little bit of an update on the Aussie Cossack, although you may have seen one from Mrs. Cossack herself. The Aussie Cossack has been taken out of segregation, and he has been allowed to see daylight for the first time in 2 months. She is hoping to see him across the course of this weekend. I think it's Sunday. We'll find out if that actually happens or not, because they've been promising that now for, I think, 4 weeks, and it's been knocked on the head at the last moment at every opportunity. So with a bit of luck, she'll actually get some contact with him. Regarding the postcard situation, folks, we are told that they're not delivering the postcards to him because there are simply too many to process. So hang on to your postcards for a moment, because we're going to figure out what we're going to do about that. We will still get you to send them. It just might be to a different address, and we might just slow down the delivery rate at the prison to something more manageable for the poor souls that are working in the mail centre at the prison, poor buggers, God, it must be hard to pick up a bag load of postcards.
That's great news. Some of those postcards will be from me. So, I'm sure he's been inundated. It's great to hear.
Yes, mate.
He'll be
out
in
high spirits, apparently.
Yeah, he's going to be out.
Yep, he's in high spirits.
They can't stop everybody.
Yep.
They're trying, but they can't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, there are a lot of people who are being stopped from, like you say, doing the things that they want to do and are being forced to live off grid. You offer courses, Kevin, that will help make life living off grid, if we put it that way, that much easier. You offer everything from, how to tie a decent knot, how to start a decent fire, through to how to turn that fire into a forge, make yourself a knife. Sorry, I get excited whenever I start talking forging.
We've got some plans about that too, haven't we? Some of the courses, such as forging and bow making, we teach the students how to, chop timber from the bush and make proper bows. They've been sort of offshoots of the bushcraft and survival over the years, because we use bows on some of our courses. So people would say, well, who makes the bows? We do. So that's sort of how that's come about over time. But yeah, we offer the basic, the basic bushcraft survival courses, 1 day, 2 days, 2 days, 4 days. That's a popular one. We do the forging.
It's not something you just generally fall into. So, what's your background, Kevin? How did you get into this?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time. Many years ago, I would go up to Queensland. I'm a bow hunter. My background's bow hunting, so I was heavily into that. Many years ago, I used to go up Queensland to a big meet amongst, well, in those days they were called survivalists. I think they're called preppers these days, and meet a bunch of guys. And after a few years of that, one of the guys phoned me up and said, do you want to run my courses, 1 day survival courses? Because he was director of operations up at Australian School of Mountaineering, and they had 1 day survival courses. He didn't have an instructor for a couple of years. So he said to me, I've seen you help the guys out, the young guys, doing the bush sort of stuff, stalking and hunting and that, and do you want to give it a go? And I thought, oh, okay. I've never sort of spoken publicly before. It did take a little bit of time to get into the swing of how to teach. But that was about 10, 11 years ago now. So it's come from there. And after a while, I started my own company, which is Australian Survival Instructors. We've gone from there, and we've done, we've done snow courses. I've taught 2 commando instructors. Done lots and lots of different things. We used to go out in state forests and do a bunch of stuff there, but now we're pretty much leasing 3,000 acres on the Central Coast, including Tidal River, which has some awesome fishing. We've got cliffs, marshland. We've got it's an awesome spot. We've got an absolutely awesome spot. That's what a lot of the return students, they just love coming there.
So tell us about, because I'm an absolute newbie when it comes to survivalists. I mean, I've watched a lot of TV shows and have absolutely no skill. So you offer courses for the newbie like me, all the way through to the people who have got experience.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I sort of sent you the email on that, because I saw you talking to, was it Sean the other week?
Yeah,
and
Sean,
that, and I thought, you know what, I should contact him, just have a chat and see if we can work together, because there's so many people now, especially since the last couple of years of bullshit happening, all the bullshit restrictions and that, and don't get me started on that. And so many people are just going, I need to get out. We need to get out of the city. We can't live like this. And there's a mass exodus of people, selling up and going rural, which it's a smart thing for anyone thinking about it. Get out now, because the future is not bright for these so-called smart cities. It's going to be pretty much a modern prison for everybody. If you didn't like getting locked up for a while, get out now. Network. A lot of people panic because they think they must have the answer to, we need to go bush and we need to learn everything. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You've got to start somewhere. It's better to act on your concerns than do nothing. But by the same token, network. It's really important to network with people who have the same mindset. I think the term now is people who are awake, not woke.
Not woke.
Big difference.
No.
And the change has been so dramatic. It's amazing. Years ago we'd get people watching Bear Grylls or that, or people, young fellas wanting to join the army, all this macho Rambo stuff. And now it's just ordinary people who the experience have gone through, that whole control, that whole thing that's happened, which has changed everybody. It's amazing to see.
So give us an outline. You said the 4-day course is pretty popular, and obviously if you're going to do the 4-day course, you're going to get a pretty good grounding in most areas. Explain to the viewers, if you could, someone like me, once again, who's got absolutely no experience and a very low fitness threshold. Should point that out too. I'm not a mountaineer.
Fitness doesn't matter. It's very much a learning experience. A lot of people seem to think they're going to be doing a lot of,
route marches.
Yeah, no, we're not in the army. Very far from it. A lot of the stuff we teach you will not do in the military. People have this misconception that anyone in the army does survival stuff. They don't. It's mainly special forces. So yeah, no, it's very much a learning experience. The 4-day course is so popular now. We sometimes start with about 30 students, and we've learned over time to let people go through the course at their own comfort zone, because in the past we'd have people either finding it too hard or finding it too easy. So now we separate them. We let them choose how they want to go through as like a beginner group, intermediate group, or an advanced. So each group they choose over those 4 days will be doing and experiencing things slightly differently, which works really well. So we call them the hardcore group. They can be rolling around in the dirt as much as they want. And the beginner groups, who quite often now are families, so you'll get youth, 10, 11, 12, and we can't push them. We can't be having them doing the real rugged stuff. So they have that real experience. So they sort of are there from the formal lessons and all that, and they get a taste of the bushcrafty stuff. They can make their own shelters if they wish. So yeah, the way we put them through is very much a learning experience. There's no pass or fail, okay, like some other schools, especially abroad. Yeah, they just have the experience, and quite often they come back for those other courses. For instance, on the 4-day comprehensive, they'll experience on say day 3 or day 4, they'll experience a bit of the primitive stuff, which we call long-term survival stuff, where they might be digging up clay to make bowls that they can cook with in case they haven't got steel. Yeah, so they do a bit of that on day 3 and 4.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Is it? I imagine it would be a huge confidence building exercise too for kids and adults alike.
Yeah, it's great to see. That's why we all do it. I mean, it's not just me teaching. I've got other young instructors. But yeah, it's just, you see the look on these people's faces, especially after 4 days. Some have actually written to me, and it's on the website in some of the comments. They say it's a life-changing experience, and for us, it's just another course. You're behind the scenes is completely different, but to have that feedback means you are changing and influencing someone's life, which is it's very, you get a lot of. I personally get a lot of satisfaction from that, knowing that I am actually making a difference.
Sure.
People can talk the talk and bullshit on the internet, and social media and all of that, but it's all bullshit, But to be on the ground in the real world and pretty much unknown, we're the type of people, and you're doing exactly the same thing. You're changing someone's life. You're changing someone's thoughts and how they live for the future,
how they react,
these times are really important. I've been watching you and Ricardo and Cossack, and a lot of people just don't realize that it's so important to realize what's going on. We're being fucked over big time. Excuse my French, but we really are. These are really, really interesting times. I never thought I would live through these times. And
you brought up networking earlier, and I imagine that has been reinforced now, given the feelings that you've just exposed there. Just how serious networking really needs to be through our whole community. I mean, sure, you're doing it in this sort of survivalist zone, but from the people who go through this course and go back into their local communities, they're going to have friends who are going to get interested in it too, and these people will become leaders in their own community and helping people to hopefully employ a few more survivalist skills if and when the time comes, if they haven't had time to come and do one of your courses yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like, you're forming it's not really a grassroots movement, but it's certainly, the influence will then be shared with other people. Like, quite often we will get a lot of students coming back from word of mouth. So that shows that. Yeah, right. Yeah. If you can run a business where word of mouth drives the return of your clientele, that means you're doing something right. So.
Are there limits? Are there any limitations, physically, age, anything like that, the people that you won't accept onto a course?
Not really. I mean, obviously wheelchair access, and there's, it's out in the bush, so anyone in a wheelchair probably You
Needs an
could
off-road
work
wheelchair.
around that, but I would only do that for very, important people.
Yep.
I wouldn't do that for students. It'd be just way too much hassle. But no,
Yeah.
I mean the course is an adult syllabus. It's actually based. I've got a copy here in case we got onto it, which we did. The syllabus is based on the military one, the army one. So a lot of the basics.
So you're looking at sort of minimum age of sort of 14, 15?
No, younger than that. We've had on the 4-day course. I think we've had a little lad that was 10 years old with his dad, and he's come back with his dad 4 times now over the years. So
wow, that's tremendous.
Yeah. We did. I remember we had a teenage girl who was, I think she was about 11 or 12, and she asked her mum to go home on day 3. She was just over it. But still, she probably regretted it once she got home a week later. It's like, oh, damn, I should have stayed.
Could have stuck out for that last day. Got me bow finished.
Yeah. So for the 4-day course, it's usually about 10, 11, 12. 1-day courses are just an intro to the basics, and we've had kids, 6, 7, 8. But at that age, they get a bit bored after a while because they can't, what kids are like. They can't just sit there and listen.
Yeah, sure. And they still have to be supervised. They still have to be supervised over at the river fishing.
Yeah, make sure they don't fall in.
That's right.
Yeah. So no, it's.
So I'd love to see if we could get a group of Voice of Freedom followers together who are interested in doing this, because I would love to come down.
I can imagine that, yeah.
I would love to come down and do a show from there. Is it possible? Is it possible for us to do a show from your 3,000 acres? Do you get coverage out there, or have I got to winch in a huge
Telstra's not too bad, and if down on the flat, we've got a permanent base camp. Actually, it's on a flat area, but if you want coverage, you could always go up to one of the permanent camps we've got set up. We've got a couple of different camps with primitive shelters, Aboriginal gunyahs and lean-tos and things like that. So there's always somewhere you can get coverage.
Yeah, great. So we'll have to sit down and work that out. And if anybody watching Voice of Freedom at the moment wants to go, get in contact with me at voiceoffreedomhq@gmail.com. And we'll see if we can't line up a road trip and go down and spend a few days.
We've got a few Queenslanders coming down actually for the next 4-day, which is 31st of September. People come from interstate. We've had a few people fly direct from abroad as well.
Oh wow! Yeah,
in Germany.
Well, if you want to learn about it, surviving in the Aussie bush, there's a lot of interest internationally for that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In fact, let's talk about one of those. Let's talk about one of those international guests who came and visited you.
I think I know who you mentioned.
So, if people go back to your website, and here, let me put it up here once again. If people go back to the website, you'll see their galleries and videos. I urge you to go and have a look at the galleries and videos because it is spectacular. And in there, you'll find a video when Conan O'Brien came to town.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a really fun day.
That must have been an interesting day. It must have been an interesting day.
It was pretty surreal. They all rocked up. There was 20 people to help him. They rocked up in 3 Mercedes-Benz vans that had been converted to buses, and it was. I'm really glad to have done that. I mean, he's a comedian, and he was taking the piss out of everything, which I sort of expected. But
yeah.
I tell you what, though,
what was their knowledge generally like? I mean, were they genuinely scared of things in the bush? You ever, because you feature the funnel web spider quite prominently in that particular piece. Were they worried about snakes and spiders?
They weren't too worried. They knew. I mean, obviously they'd heard it from everybody about, be careful, everything is going to kill you. So they already knew that. They'd been here a couple of days. Yeah, that was.
You don't run into too many funnel webs around the Opera House, mate. I don't think they'd set too many steps outside of the CBD in Sydney at that time.
Yeah. I often wonder. I'm sure a couple of them are probably thinking, "Oh, these guys are kidding," But one of the funnel webs I featured, the Southern Tree funnel web, it's everywhere. It's endemic there. It's in the trees. It's under the logs. It doesn't burrow like the Sydney one. It's just you turn a rock over, there'll be one there. That they're everywhere.
Yeah, wow.
So we weren't, I was telling the truth. But it was a fun day. Conan, I was really impressed with how physically hard he worked. We literally filmed non-stop for probably about 6 hours, and it was a hot day. I was just absolutely parched. I ended up having to ask one of the girls, "Can I drink some of your water?" And we just did not stop. It was take after take after take. So he works really hard. Like, I was just knackered, and I'm thinking, man, this guy will just go all day to get his job done. And the thing was, I was just done for the day. After that, they went up to another place, a reptile park nearby, and filmed another segment.
Yeah, wow.
And then I believe the next day, that night, he had the show he did down, because he's a guitarist. He had a show down in Sydney as well, so he was just working non-stop. But it was a good experience. I think for him it was just another segment.
Yep.
But for me, it's probably one of those things where I'll always remember, because it was so surreal. Because they were into film and filming and producing whatever they could. And I was just like, they want to be one of the producers. Can you do this? Can you pretend to do that? And I'm thinking, I can't bullshit. I'm not an actor. I'll just do what I do, which is show bush foods and stuff. And we ended up doing some friction fire and stuff. And I'm glad I stuck to that, because it's, trying to do make up some stupid thing. One of the producers is saying, and he'll get scared and then you'll run away. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing silly nonsense like that. I just do what I do, and I'll show you. And if you use it, you use it. I don't care. But it's a good day.
I think you played it with a straight bat, mate. I think you did well, because you're
they
right.
Cut a lot out, actually. They cut a lot out. And I've got some on my own channel, some behind the scenes stuff, which I've then included. So there's a little bit.
Did you get much of a boost in Americans wanting to come out and check out the Australian bush survival?
Not really. No, we're at the arse end of the world, so it's hard here,
Yeah. It's a real survivalist who wants to leave their home in America and come to you.
Yeah, like, we didn't even get one inquiry from the media. That's what it's like in Australia on the mainstream media. So. Which is a shame.
Yeah, you get branded. You'll get branded as some sort of conspiratorial, hill-living hillbilly. You're hiding behind trees with your bows and arrows, waiting for the conspirators to emerge. I mean, that's how the mainstream media are going to brand you every time.
Yeah.
Now, there's no truth in that at all, because if you're going to be hiding behind a tree with anything, it'll be behind one of those knives you've forged.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring us back to the forging, because I am particularly interested. I have made a number of stupid decisions in my life, and I came very close to making and probably close to terminally stupid decision by making myself a forge some years ago. Now, I convinced myself that I could do this and that I would give it a good go, and then I saw an accident of somebody who had tried making the forge in exactly the same way that I'd tried making it, and burnt his hand to a point where it was a stump. So I thought maybe I need to do a little bit more education on this whole forging thing, because the heat involved is probably a bit greater than I'm used to, and associated other things. So you offer a course where you can get a piece of metal and belt the crap out of it, and eventually it will hopefully have the shape of a kniffy. I think this is a marvelous thing.
We've got outdoor course. We hold it there, so people camp over. There's 6 spots, because we are limited to 6 anvils, 3 forges, 6 sets of tongs, and that's a popular course too. The way we run that one, it's sort of aimed at people who've never done it forging before. So we sort of step through the projects over the 2 days. You end up doing a knife of your choice. Some people make little camp knives. We've had one fella make a big long kukri. So it's whatever you think you're going to be able to do on that last day. But we get you guys to start off with like mild steel, just doing little S hooks, things like that, learning how to do tapers and twirls and twists. Then we move on to a set of tools for future blacksmithing, which will be a punch and a hot cutter, like a chisel.
Oh, yeah.
That's out of tool steel, so that's a lot harder than the mild steel. Then the next day we get you to move on to a Roman fire steel. I don't have one on my desk, which is a primitive way of firelighting. It's a Roman, like
Oh,
Roman
great.
steel that you get sparks off it. You catch a spark on a bit of charred cloth or charred punk wood. If I had, I did have one here the other day, but it's not here now. I'd do a quick demo.
It's cold down where you are. Somebody's taking it to start a fire.
Yeah, it is cold down here. Yeah. And then the knife of your choice. So that will be up to you. A lot of the people just make a little camp knife. Yeah, and we use
nice.
What's that? Sorry.
I said it all sounds very nice. We can make this, you can do that, you can bend this and make a little twiddle and a twirl, and then you can have a knife. But you don't have hydraulic hammers. You only have the Armstrong style hammer, don't you?
Yeah. It's
so,
pretty much.
So you can have whatever you want, provided you're prepared to pound it out, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And this is where you using the different steels, you get to learn. Okay, well, everything doesn't act like mild steel. Some of those steels are pretty hard. Like you've got to snap the shit out of them really to get any movement in the metal, which is a learning experience in itself. But yeah, we just have small open charcoal fires with hand crank blowers. I've got one old one. I think it was made in 1898 or something like that.
Oh wow! So it's real authentic forging then.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the old tools from 200 years ago are still usable now. With old forging. Gas is convenient.
No need to bring my little Milwaukee blower then.
Is it a hand crank one?
Well, it's not a hand crank. No, it's got an 18-watt battery that goes on the end of it.
Okay. Right. Milwaukee, 18-volt Milwaukee. Well, they're great to keep fires going actually at night. One of my instructors.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what he uses. It's like, I think it needs a bit of a hit, and he's got an 18-volt blower.
Yeah, whooshka.
Yeah. Yeah, so
it's not exactly surviving, but it is getting warmth in a hurry. So it may not be strictly survivalist, but
Yeah, we have a bit of
one of those small luxuries to get to bring from home.
Yeah, we call it the Australian feather stick, which if you're into bushcraft, you'll understand what a feather stick is. The Europeans do it. They'll sit there carving knives into little curls so they can light their fire. And our Australian feather stick is an 18-volt blower. That'll get it going every time.
Every time. Kevin, I've really enjoyed this chat. So if people want to learn more about you, how can people find a course for them? And whereabouts on the Central Coast are you located? Are you far from Sydney?
It's no. The actual site is it's the Calga turnoff. Anyone coming from Sydney, the first Calga turnoff before the Big Dipper or the Mooney Bridge. So it's literally an hour from the airport. So it's not very far at all. Yeah.
So people wanting to travel interstate, fly into Sydney, and less than an hour up the road, you're there.
Yeah, most of the people will just hire a small car for the course, drive up. We leave it in a protected area, and then they fly out. Usually the evening of on the 4 days of the last day. So it's pretty convenient. I think we're pretty fortunate to have an area to operate in so close to Sydney.
Yeah. And people can make bookings and contact you through the website.
Yep. Through the website. My number's on there, the email's on there. So there's, we have a Facebook page as well, Australian Survival Instructors, ASI. So have my own personal one as well, which maybe I won't give out.
Just keep the work one going, mate. All right, and obviously, if people want to come down and do a Voice of Freedom weekend with you, and we'll do a we'll involved, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can't set something up. Make a little road trip out of it. People from Queensland wanting to come down, we'll we'll see if we can't fill you up for a weekend.
Yeah, it should be good. And I'm looking forward to you coming down on the forging course, as we've talked about. So,
Mate, very keen. I think that's what, 1st of September. I think that starts, or 3rd of September, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, have you got any places left on that aside from the one that I'm going to take?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. We'll
You
keep
do?
one reserved for you.
Well, there you go, folks. If you're into forging, then September, first weekend in September, I think it's the 3rd. I'm going to be down bashing the shit out of a whole heap of metal, and we will do a show from there then too. But very keen if you want to come down and be part of the show, then get a hold of Kevin or get a hold of me, and I'll hook you up with Kevin, and we'll get you there. It's going to be a fun weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then the survivalist thing, of course, if you're at all, and we should all have basic survival skills. I mean, there are so many basic survival skills that Australians need, from knowing how to identify a spider or a snake at a glance, and figuring out whether or not it's venomous or not, to being able to build a lean-to that's going to give you shelter from rain or wind or dust or whatever you happen to be caught in, to be able to find food, to be able to start a fire, get warmth, purify water. All these things are tools of the trade that we should already know. And I guess at some point when I was at Cubs or Scouts, I might have learnt some of it, but that's a long time ago, and I've lost any memory of that knowledge. So we should brush up, because there are so many people worried about what's going to happen when the power goes out in the next stages of what's ahead of us. Well, if you're truly worried about that, you need to get a hold of this course. Come with Kevin, be on that. Learn how to survive when the power goes out. The other question I have for you, Kevin, is while you make your bows out of trees, do you go and buy the fiberglass arrows at the sports store, or do you find straight bits of wood and make them too?
No, we do both. Obviously, for the courses, I just get cheap carbon arrows off the net, because they're getting shot all over the place and lost. But you make your own arrows out of timber. It's
great.
Not as difficult as it sounds, actually. And also, while we're on the subject, we do the stone technology as well. So we teach on the primitive course, we teach how to make the arrow points, spear points.
Wow. Yeah, right.
So teach the flint.
There you go. So it's not just an infected I thought it was an infected shark tooth you were wearing there, but
no, this is a bit of old Victorian green glass napped into an arrow point, and my lovely missus has put some silver work on there. Oh, it's hard to work.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So we teach all that.
Well, you know,
that's on the
very impressive, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Very impressive, very impressive. And your wife's got some great silverwork skills there too, by the look of it.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, look, people can go to your website. I'll bring it up one more time for a look. It is very easy to find, AustralianSurvivalInstructors.com. All the contact details are available there on ASI. I do urge you to go and check out the gallery and the video, or the videos, especially the Conan O'Brien video. It's well worth a look. Quite a giggle. And mate, very impressed once again. Thank you very much for coming on and giving us a bit of a rundown on what happens at your place. I can't wait to get down there, and well, forging is one thing, but the whole survivalist thing is so important. We all get to have a basic understanding, a basic knowledge of how we can survive. And thank you for putting yourself out there to teach us that, mate. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
The more, the merrier. All right, mate. Well, we'll be in touch, and we'll let the people know how the bookings are working. If you want to come, you can contact me via voiceoffreedomhq@gmail.com, or go to the ASI website and contact Kev directly, and just tell him you want to turn up about the same day and time as I'm going to be there, and we'll let him figure it out. Good on you, Kev. Appreciate your time, mate.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Excellent stuff. The Voice of Freedom, we've got more coming up. Got a couple of interviews that, like I said, had planned out for yesterday, and Sorry,